Hello there. This is a coaching clip with the Stronghold Beginners Academy team. I'm currently co-managing and co-coaching with Roa. We're both doing a bit of the same. So in this specific coaching session, both of us were coaching, so you'll hear both of us talk from time to time. Okay, let's talk about staggering a bit. Do we know what staggering means, or do we have to introduce it real quick? Because I'm not sure if it's talked about enough, like outside of comp circles, that we'd know it.
Isn't it? Oh, sorry, you can go.
I was just gonna say you briefly mentioned it, but I think probably a more in-depth
Okay.
explanation would be nice.
One sec, Bella, what were you gonna say about it?
I was gonna say we're kind of stuck in the loop of kind of running in and not waiting for each other to respawn and fight together. So we just keep going. Like one person goes in, dies, the other person goes in, dies, and we can never push it up together because we're all dying at the same time, or at different times.
Yes.
Yep, perfect.
That is pretty much it. The full term the community uses for that is feed stagger loop. And that is exactly what you just described. It's we are in a disadvantaged state, we are numbers down. It's mostly because of numbers down. Usually very seldomly it's because huge special disadvantage or something, but usually it's because numbers down. What happens then is if we don't play very carefully, if we don't play defensive enough, if we try to go for fights, that means that the enemy is gonna have a favorable fight for them. They have more players or more resources, and that means that you are most likely gonna lose that fight. So we are disadvantaged. If we fight, we lose, or we most likely lose. And then that leads to us being in disadvantage again, because now someone else on the team is dead, and we are still in disadvantage, and we've just extended the time of disadvantage. The worst part is that the respawns will come in at very different times. Like one person died at the beginning, then one person tried to fight without the teammate. Now the sword will be respawning, but third person dies at that exact moment. The sword tries to go to fight, loses. The second person respawns, tries to fight, loses. The third person tries to fight, respawns, loses. Then the first person respawns again, and it's just kind of this evil cycle, right? Of where we respawn at very different times, and if we don't take the time to group up, we will enforce that vicious cycle until we get knocked out, basically. So what we have to do is play very safe. We don't fight. I like this kind of pseudocode.
Astley.
Astley.
Oh, I'm smart. I was thinking that something is wrong. And the idea is just play safe, don't fight, and wait until your teammates are back. Let's just say we take the time to paint up, get special, and now we are actually in a situation where we can push back, push the enemy back, because now we have all players again. We hopefully have specials because we took the time that we had where some people were down to paint up, and that should give us enough an advantage to push back. Okay, that's the basic idea around staggering, and we can see it in this example right here. This is a textbook definition of staggering. We are 2 down, then the pencil goes down a bit after. We actually have 3 people up right now, which is more than you'd normally have, but still we are still in a disadvantage because we don't have a lot of paint around this area. The text is completely covering it all, so maybe we can... No, okay, never mind. We don't have any paint, we don't have a lot of paint around here, and the charger gets lucky, or a nice shot. But like the reason we lose this fight is because we didn't take enough time to group up and like make sure that we actually have control of enough space. We don't have the paint here. We go down because of that. Now we are still one player down. Now we take very isolated fights. We go down here. We go down here. And we can kind of see, like, I can open the graph in a second, but the respawns are, like, very staggered. And it's only now that we are all back. And it's only now that we can actually start doing things again. That is... We can see it on, like, on the graph right here. That is a very extended period of time where we just went down one after the other. Boom, 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 boom. And then, like, it ends here. And that's what we want to avoid. Does that concept make sense, or do we have any questions about that? Any further ideas?
That makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, we just have to be more careful to not just keep rushing and actually just like try to build an advantage by painting for special, waiting for the team and stuff.
Yes, exactly.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah.
As like a brush player, you can sometimes try to set up sharks if you have like enough paint. Not on this map, because on this map sharking in is completely impossible.
Where is bro sharking?
Splatoon 3, my beloved.
But like on some other maps, you can try to do that. That's just like another idea of what to do in downtime, right? Instead of trying to paint up while waiting for your teammates, you try to get in like a dangerous position, unseen from the enemy. On defense, it's way more important to stay alive than to like get trades. The only thing trades will do, like even if it weren't like a cooler trade or something, the only thing trades will do is like keep them in control, because like
Yeah.
they will be very happy with just trading out because they are like getting points.
If you have like 10 things and they have 100 things, they're so down to trade one of their things for one of your things.
Yeah.
Like you got to think of it very like materialistically like that.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
This is a weird situation where we as a team have very different ideas of what to do, and on retake that's like the worst thing that can happen. Like one of us drops onto this S blast, one of us is trying to fight over here, the pencil is just trying to like paint or something, because like there's no paint here. On retake we are gonna have to coordinate like as much as possible, as much as we possibly can with callouts and stuff, of where we want to move and like what positions we want to retake. On this map it's relatively straightforward. You usually like this is the main path you want to retake, and then you go like this. And like as soon as you have this, you can take like those kind of different angles we talked about before. And like that is totally like a very good thing to do. But you kind of do just need like choke control on this map first. You do just like need this before you can do anything else. So yeah, try to not like greed on kills or something, especially like when someone drops or something. Try to just leave them be and focus on what's more important, which is like getting all this map control back. Still staggered. Let's see the graph. Unlucky. Yeah, this game is a really good example of like staggering, like a really good example of just staggering happening and what it does to a team. If you notice something like this happening, then call it out in VC, because everyone needs to know to like stop fighting right now. I don't care how big your ego is, you need to like play safe if you're staggering, because like even winning like one fight won't do much, because like you're still in such a big disadvantage. Just call it out in VC so that everyone is on the same page. And then we can like work together on getting specials, getting paint control back, and moving from there. Okay. Any questions about that?
Yeah, it just makes sense. It is just a little bit harder to do like in the moment because you're kind of panicking. But
Yeah,
like, it's
for sure.
something to keep in mind.
I guess maybe with that comp, like as an entry tool, would you be like mainly painting for something like zip and waiting to go in with that, or like slide? Well, obviously cooler, but like how would you maybe approach that with that comp?
It really
What are you
depends on
looking
what's
for?
like what specials we get first, and then we kind of have to work off that. We had, let's just check what exact specials we had. We had zip, hammer, slider. Slider is totally fine in situations like this. Zip is really good in situations like this, and like hammer is hammer. I don't know what to say. Sometimes can work, I guess.
Hammer is there, I
With the-
guess.
With a map this narrow, like at least it's not a narrow map, but like the parts you generally fight in is quite narrow and has a lot of like tight areas. You really want to be using slider for entry here, I feel, especially if you have dread cooler. You can just like force fight super easily with dread on slider and then like pen and stamper follow up.
Yeah, this is the kind of map like area Roa was talking about, of like this is very narrow, and because of that, specials like slider can get a lot of value here in like
a lot of
separating
the-
people and stuff. So yeah, for specials we'll try to wait, almost always try to wait for cooler, unless we are like very far from cooler. We should almost always wait for it, and then like anything else we can work with basically. Slider is really valuable and zip is really valuable. I think that's the biggest two things to look out for here.
Yeah, I think at some moments I was too focused on the zone, or like just thought I was like too close. Even though I wasn't dying, I was spending more time like dodging, so I could like stay back even more just to paint up our spawn.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to kind of watch out if you're like too close to ledges or even like on the low ground. That if people have advantage, they might rush you, because like your pencil is the cooler weapon. Your weapon is the cooler weapon. So people will try to take fights with you a lot.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time like trying to dodge the Tetris and the S-Blast.
Yeah. Those two weapons just like running in general.